Hi, my name is Molly Howe, and today I'm going to speak out about the documentary Crip Camp and how Camp Jened fostered an inclusive environment as disability was normalized. And this is in contrast with societal attitudes where disability is seen to be stigmatized. So campers saw others that resembled themselves, which really empowered them to embrace their disability and empower each other. And a claim that I thought was interesting in the beginning of the documentary, a camper by the name of Judy speaks out about her childhood living with a disability and being around peers who were not disabled. So Judy became wheelchair bound from a young age, and she claims, "People saw me not as Judy but as someone who was sick. Even though we were young, we all knew we were being sidelined." So Judy kind of had a loss of sense of self, as she was not viewed as equal to her peers, but rather someone who is sick, which really alienated her from society. Whereas at camp, their identities were empowered as they were embracing being disabled and they weren't being compared to others outside of their community. And another claim that I thought was interesting is another camper by the name of Joe O'Connor speaks of his experience first arriving to camp, like right off the bus, his opinions and his thoughts. And he said, "I was not prepared for the visual of seeing so many disabled people at one time, and I froze. I became paralyzed with fear." And so this was really just evidence for me of the confinement that people with disabilities experience on a day-to-day life. So they're isolated from society. They're not seeing people like themselves, and they're also not really being integrated in society. Whereas camp really allowed them to be their full selves as they were with people like themselves. Lastly, another camper, Jim Lebrecht, who's also directed the film, speaks out about his childhood and growing up with a disability. He said, "I had to fit into a world that did not belong to me." And I thought this was interesting because there was a scene in the documentary where campers who were wheelchair bound were playing wheelchair baseball, and camp counselors without a disability were seen to assist the campers in running the bases and going up at bat. And so volunteers help allow members of the disabled community to participate in social and physical activities that they're usually excluded from. And this integration really removes the stigma of disabilities being seen as an illness, but rather something that does not have to be limiting with the help of others. So I think camp really allowed them to participate in activities that they usually were excluded from in society, which I thought was very interesting. And yeah, thank you.